disease. He's a father. He's a husband. He's an athlete. He's a damn good friend. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ron Fudala, moving beyond a pernicious deception.
Aristotle came to me in an early morning dream and startled me out of my sleep when he said in a booming voice, "You've got to change the way you see the world so you can move beyond, turn the page on your pernicious deception, perhaps recognizing the fragility of everything you think you're certain about." Speaking of recognizing, when you got up this morning, did you see your blind spot? Oxymoronic question, right? If it's blind, how would you notice it? Well, I believe we all have two blind spots. One literal, the other figurative. Our literal blind spots are physiologic. That's because the optic disc has no special receptors to pick up wavelengths of light and send those signals back to the brain where images are formed. So when that information gets there, there is a void where otherwise an image could or should be. So if there's a void, why don't we notice it? That's because the brain tricks us. It takes what it sees in its immediate environment and it combines it with memories and experiences of past environments. And it fills that void with a virtual image of what it believes should be there. That's not a whole lot unlike our figurative blind spots that are best addressed with some questions. What are we certain about? Why? What forms the basis of our certainty? Do we believe only what we see? Or is it possible that our beliefs affect what we look for, notice, and how we view the world? For a moment, imagine that all of you are wearing sunglasses. And just like each of you, uniquely different in many ways. No two exactly the same, especially the tint of the lenses. And as you're looking at the screen, I want you to think about how you're going to see it. If you're wearing red glasses, you're going to see red. If you're wearing blue, you'll see blue, green, yellow. I think the point's been made. Wouldn't it be fair to suggest that what we see depends on the tint of our lenses? And wouldn't it also be a reasonable consideration that based on our upbringing, our experience, our conditioning, our exposure, our interests, we all have a different tint of lenses through which we view the world, which could explain how we can all look at exactly the same thing and perceive it or interpret it entirely differently. For a moment, take a look at this image, and I want you to raise your hands if you see a couple in a warm, erotic embrace. I thought so. All right, now raise your hands if you see the dolphins. Good for you. I didn't think there'd be many, but they're under the arms and under the hands. The interesting thing about this is it was an experiment done years ago that found when shown to adults, almost everyone saw the erotic embrace. But when shown to children, they saw the dolphins. It's just a glaring example of how our conditioning can affect our perception. We all like our facts, don't we? We're told to follow them, to trust them, to believe them. And we're often admonished, if not criticized, when we choose to differ with them. But let's look at some facts in the past and ask ourselves if the facts of today are any less susceptible to potential flaws. Back in the early 1900s, cocaine was used as a remedy for dental pain. That's the only time people wanted to go to the dentist. And heroin was given as a cough suppressant, especially to kids, but they slept through the night. And then cigarettes were promoted as a trait to represent health and vitality. Two more examples, and I can give others. Dr. Semmelweis, in the mid-1800s, was ridiculed and ostracized by his medical peers for suggesting that hand sanitation was necessary to prevent the excessive infant and maternal mortalities of that day. And then last, but not least, is Dr. Freeman, who traveled the country performing ice pick lobotomies as a cure. This is mid-1900s for depression and headaches. He said his treatment was proven successful because none of his patients ever returned. Go figure. Most of us are likely similar in our desire for the truth, but I've begun to wonder, is it truth we want or truth that we want it to be the way we want it to be, that fits our beliefs? Is it possible that one person's truth could be different than another and have equal, if not more, validity? And the truth about truth was perhaps best articulated by this 13th century sage who said, the truth is a mirror fallen from the hand of God. Everyone picks up but a fragment, feeling that their fragment represents the whole truth. And then one step further was Sir Francis Bacon, who realized how our biases and our beliefs can affect what we look for and what we see, when he said, the human understanding, when it has once adopted an opinion, draws all things else to support and agree with it. And then finally, Joan Didion realized how we can fool ourselves without even being aware of it when she stated that most of our platitudes notwithstanding, self-deception remains the most difficult, and I would suggest pernicious of deceptions. So, as I turn the page on 2023 and move into 2024, I hope that I realize that I have my own unique set of glasses on, as do yours, that we are going to see the world differently, but that we need to give respect for each other's viewpoints. I will learn not to judge because I've never walked in your shoes. You've never walked in mine. And I will hope to grow in my wisdom by following Einstein, who said that true understanding can only begin when one decides to let go of all they think they know. Thank you.